A young man squints his eyes and peers into the filtered effluent in a set of king-size test tubes. What he sees is a series of filters and carbon absorption materials designed to check out the chemical-physical treatment process, one of several ways the Trinity River Authority is studying in hopes of finding a better process for taking care of the flood of effluent which descends around the clock on the central sewage plant north of Grand Prairie. Walter Chang is 27 years old. He's an environmental health engineer working for Forrest and Cotton Inc, a firm studying what can be done to handle an ever-increasing flow of sewage from area cities.
This is the biological waste treatment system. We put the wastewater into the bacteria box, let the air, purge air in there, and so the bacteria will uptake the waste, so we remove the waste. And this is the physical chemical treatment process. First we put chemical in there, and then we settle the sludge, and then we through the filter and through the carbon absorption bed.
Did you use both systems together for
That's what gives us super water quality like the Tahoe people do in California, but the cost would be too high.
And probably not necessary for this area.
It's all depends on what quality board going to decide what kind of effluent quality you require.
The pressure's on to come up with new and better ways to treat waste material. It will take at least 2 years to build an expanded plant at a cost of about $43 million. That plant must not only handle more volume, but it must do so much more efficiently.
This is a 30 million gallon per day trickling filter sewage treatment plant. We are now treating approximately 23 to 24 million gallons per day. This is the water that comes into the plant, and this is the way the water looks as it leaves the plant in order to meet the state Water Quality Board standards.
Now, those are the bottles that we saw Walter fill up a minute ago, aren't they?
Yes.
Okay, what is the nature of that water in the clear bottle? What is that water good for at this time?
This water is discharged into the Trinity River. It can be taken out further downstream and put into recreational lakes or reclaimed for water usage downriver.
But it's definitely not good for drinking.
No, sir. Not at the present state.
Can you envision a circumstance where you might actually have to produce drinking water from a plant like this?
Yes, that's understandable that we might possibly in the future have to go to an effluent quality that would be that stringent. However, at the present time, the state of the art is not such that we could do that economically.
What is the problem as it faces us right now for Dallas-Fort Worth?
Well, today, and this plant in particular is serving the mid-cities areas. Originally, it was designed to handle the wastewater from 4 cities. As the mid-cities area grows, of course, we have more cities that need the demand for a controlled effluent treatment, and this is where the authority comes in.
What kind of numbers are we dealing with in regard to how much water we are turning out now as to the future?
Well, presently, this plant is a trickling filter plant, and it was designed originally to treat 30 million gallons per day. By 1975, we estimated that the flow received at this plant will be approximately 56, and we're in the process of planning for the authority an expansion of 100 million gallons, which will take us through the year 1985.
By that time, perhaps the whole system will have changed and there'll be new demands to be met, right?
That's correct, sir. Certainly is.
As if the immediate challenge of just handling the water and the effluent as it comes into the plant were not enough, it is hoped someday plants like this will be able to provide drinking water quality. In the meantime, the TRA and its staff are in a race against time. Jerry Taff, Channel 8 News on the Move.
Dallas police officer Horace Akins was gunned down a week ago. He got shot in the stomach when he tried to stop a man in a bar who turned out to be a suspected murderer-kidnapper. Akins came out of that shooting alive. He left Parkland Hospital today. But in the past 3 weeks, 2 other policemen weren't so lucky. Patrolman Alan Camp was shot to death when he answered a silent burglar alarm. Sergeant Wayne Standridge is still in serious condition, wounded during a hit-and-run investigation. Back at his home, I talked to Officer Akins about his ordeal.
You know, when you think about back to the time you were shot, what kind of thoughts were racing through your mind when you were hit?
At the time the man shot me?
Yes.
I believe the first thing that came to my mind was I couldn't understand why I'd been shot, because I hadn't posed any particular threat to the man, and I guess you could say surprise, shock. I just didn't understand why. And then too, I wasn't aware of the gun that he had. So it was, I guess you could say it was one of surprise, that I couldn't understand why.
Did you feel like you were close to death?
Sure did. Sure did.
You would think that getting shot and almost killed would make a policeman think twice about going back on the job. But Officer Akins calls his brush with death just an occupational hazard, a danger he's willing to face again. Martha McIntire, Channel 8 News on the Move.
I think that the excitement of Major League Baseball coming to Dallas-Fort Worth is still there, and we're preparing to open here now on April 21st, and we're really looking forward to getting started down here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
As management, I suppose you're ready to forget about the past couple of weeks and begin as though it never happened.
Well, I think that's the only way to look at any problem, really, is that time heals everything, and from now on, we're looking forward to the season, and we officially open on Saturday, and we're just very happy that it is over, and we will forget it.
How many times have you talked with Mr. Shorts on the phone the past few days?
Well, Bob Short and I talk 4 or 5 times every day, and I think that no more or no less than 5 times every day since this strike started, as we do most of the time.
Was he happy, as an owner could be happy, with the terms of the settlement?
Yes, he was, because Bob Short and I have been quoted quite a few times as saying the fair settlement in this would be to start the season on the date that they picked, and that there would be no back pay for the players, because I think in all strikes of this type, both sides really suffer, and it wouldn't have been fair to try to make up games and not pay them, and by the same token, it wouldn't have been a strike if we had paid the players.
We've got to work out here tomorrow morning, and we plan on leaving for Los Angeles to play the California Angels Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening.
Are you having any meeting planned this evening?
Well, I'm under the understanding that we're going to meet with our player representative, Don Mencher, and he's going to outline the details of the negotiations and just what has transpired.
I know you, as a player, are happy that the strike is over, are you not?
Well, I think we all are. I think it's something that we really didn't want. I'm sure the management didn't really want it, but, you know, when you got 2 people that are fighting for what they believe in, why, you have a stalemate.
Well, they have the one big line, the one productive line, the Shepard, Clapton, Hayes. They've done most of the scoring. I'd say 95% of the scoring already in the series. But they have a team that works all the time. They never quit. You just can't let up against them. Like the second game here, we had a 6-4 lead with 5-6 minutes left, and we thought we had it made, but they just kept picking away, and that's what happens against that type of team.
How would you come out the first period tomorrow night, do you feel?
Well, we'll have to come out the same way as we did Tuesday. I had never seen a team so fired up, so charged up as our team Tuesday night. We knew it was kind of a do-or-die game, and it was really something to see, the dressing room, you know, a bunch of guys so fired up. So we'll have to come the same way tomorrow night, because it's a big game.
Even if you take it on the basis that he's writing the check on a bank outside of the town in which he's writing the check, I suspect that it's going to be not too far distant when he better have the funds there the next day. Right now, it may be 4 or 5 days before it's cleared. But very soon, it's going to have to be within 24 hours.
So the day of the borrowed money without interest is coming to an end.
This is what we call float, and that day is coming to an end.
Well, due to the heavy involvement of our state in defense and space projects, there's a little bit of Texas in every rocket that goes aloft. But next year, when Skylab goes up, there will be a little bit more. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration has announced a selection of 25 national finalists in the Skylab Student Project. Students all over the nation have been invited to participate, recommend their suggested experiments to be done by the Skylab crew. One of those students attends South Garland High School. He is Keith McGee, better known to his co-students as Skylab, will be made by June 1st of this year. This is Jim Mitchell, Channel 8 News on the Move in Garland.
Monday midnight is the deadline for you to file your income tax return, and these IRS specialists are helping the flood of taxpayers fill out their forms. But Secretary of the Treasury John Connolly said today that millions of these returns will have to be rechecked because of fraud done by commercial tax preparers. IRS Commissioner John Walters was in Dallas today, and he said that a spot check in the Southeast shows that 97% of the returns prepared by tax services are fraudulent. Were a majority of those examined these fly-by-night individuals, or were they established firms?
I do not know precisely who the preparers were. I do know that many of them were what you term fly-by-nighters. I don't know that that term is exactly right, but presumably a large number of them were individuals. Now, I will also say that in some cases they were the local offices of some of the commercial returns preparers. And as you know, everybody prepares returns today. Banks, department stores, drugstores, lawyers, CPAs, and then the large nationally known returns preparers themselves.
Most of the major tax services companies advocate some kind of regulation, but H&R Block of Dallas took offense at the 97% figure on tax fraud.
Secretary Connolly was either one, misquoted, or two, misinformed. That's a heck of an indictment of a large industry of which we are the leader. And I certainly would feel that this is completely erroneous. Secretary Connolly or anyone of the Treasury Department or Internal Revenue Service, I invite them to Dallas. I invite them to see the H&R Block operation in Dallas, and they will see that the meticulous care with which our tax returns are prepared completely removes us from this indictment.
We still expect to have further declines in our population level here at Fort Worth. Its biggest impact will be on our high-grade engineering team.
If the contract is awarded in the next 3 years, at the end of 3 years, could we look forward to a major impact on employment here in Fort Worth, or at GD?
If the program went into production, which it's not scheduled for, it's a 2-aircraft prototype program, we would expect an employment impact on our Fort Worth area and our Fort Worth plant.
Our attorney has indicated that it is possible for us to do this. We shall be recommending to the Board of Education within the next few days that we take positive steps to, 1, provide legal services for teachers who are abused. Number 2, that we provide for medical costs if they are needed. Number 3, that we assure our teachers that they will not be have their sick days reduced because of any absence that might occur as a result of physical abuse.
So far as the sentiment as I get it from the other council members, with the exception of one who feels that there should be a city-county takeover, but the great majority of the council members obviously feel that the agency can continue to operate under its own board and with these reorganizations effected.
So you agree with them?
Benefit from their personal participation in the Skylab program.
Some activities are posed by students in school projects. Determining weight in a weightless world is a real problem. The men transfer to the workshop and begin their missions. 28 days for the first one, 56 days each for the second and third. Skylab will fly unmanned between missions. Ocular view of the Earth when on Earth's sunlit side. It will be double paned with glass of high optical quality. Heaters will keep it from fogging. During off-duty
Well, I feel that this means that they can promote who they want to. They can pass any type of rules. They can put any type of report on as far as promotions are concerned, and the officers will not be promoted. I think they're manipulating the employees. The present efficiency report is subjective rather than objective.
Do you think this hurts the morale and the efficiency of the Richardson Police Department if what you say is true?
I think that it does to this extent. I think that the officers want, if there are rules that they want them followed, they need some guidelines to go by, and there are not any guidelines.
Well, that was just a thrill. The game was just a real thrill. There's 20 guys there, boy, and they just wanted everything that they could get out of that game, and they really played well. Everybody played well, and the guys that didn't play were just tremendous in kind of a spiritual leaders, and it was a real thrill.
What are the moments of anxiety when you're too short and they're coming in on you?
Well, we just said, we've got 2 minutes to go. We were playing shorthanded for two guys for 2 minutes. We said, if we get rid of this, that's the game, really. We said that at the time, and that was pretty well the story, and we just said, let's bear down for the 2 minutes, and we'll have them. And gosh, the guys that were on the ice just did a great job, just a super job.
What kind of a game do you think you'll have tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night, they'll come in and they'll play another close checking game. They'll try to capitalize on any mistakes that we'll make, but I'd like to go out and try to blow them out of the rink in the first period and see what happens then, but I'd rather just beat them by 1 goal. I don't care. As long as we come out ahead, we're going to probably go into a semi-offensive game and perhaps cancel out their mistakes as well.
We have other areas that we're looking for in the geologic context, large boulders, which we will have to sample for the isotope relationships within units, a large rock that will have an east-west fracture to it, such that we can sample the soil from between this fractured boulder, which shields some of the cosmic rays that only travel north-south on the lunar surface and at a very low angle. So such things as this have been developed and are continually being developed, probably pretty close up to flight time, for to enhance the scientific return from our samples.
What I think one of the most important things that the television can do is to demonstrate our mission in operation, and demonstrate it so that everybody can watch it. It's just really seldom that people get to watch exploration in progress, and I think that television is a good way to do that. And I know how much Charlie and I enjoyed watching the Apollo 15 crew in action, and I hope everybody will get the same enjoyment that we got watching us in action.
I guess, I didn't, how do you say when you're close to death, you know? I thought it could go either way.
Now that you've been in such a dangerous situation, but yet you've come out of it, do you think that being a policeman is really worth the risk?
Well, I believe each individual officer or person that wants to be a police officer has to make that decision. I know for me personally, it's worth every bit of the risk. I hate to say I love the job, but I do like the job. And I knew the risk was there when I took the job, so to me it's worth the risk.